Okay, so I'm going to talk about English literature. I am really privileged. I can teach both, and I get to pretty much alternate 1 year on, 1 year off, and sometimes get to teach both at the same time, which is fantastic. Literature is very similar to what you do at GCSE. If you're not a reader, it probably isn't the right choice for you, but there is a certain amount of choice that you have over what you read at certain times. So, in terms of what's on the course, we do poetry, prose and drama. Poetry and drama are on the exam, they're the exam texts. The good news, hurrah, is that you get to take the poetry texts in with you. You don't have to learn reams and reams of quotes for the poetry, but you do have to learn 2 full collections by 2 different poets. All the context that goes with it. It's fascinating stuff. With the drama, you study 2 plays in the lower 6th, a modern one and an older one, and compare them, and you don't take those into the exam. So that's where you've got to learn some quotations. So that's the lower 6th pretty much. Coursework is where the prose lives, mostly, and some of the colleges do suggest that you do certain books off certain lists. I know I had a goddaughter who went to a Brighton college, and she was told you will do Jane Eyre, but you can choose one of these 10 books to do with it. We go, what do you fancy doing? And we let you have completely free choice, providing one of the books is pre-2000 and one of the books is post-2000. We obviously guide you into what you choose to do, and it has to be approved by the board, so it does have to be a literary read. But beyond that, you can choose 2 books that you really love. So the better you read, the more you read, the more chance you have of going, I'd really quite like to do this. If you've not been a reader so far, or you've lapsed in reading over the last few years, please don't worry. If you're into reading or you want to get back into reading, this could be the course for you. It doesn't matter if things got overwhelming and you stopped doing it for pleasure. In terms of the upper 6th, so that's mostly the lower 6th, mostly year 12, you then do a Shakespeare text. At the moment it's King Lear, but that might change depending on who's teaching the course. But King Lear's been a staple for a few years now. And then you do a single poet. Again, you get to take those poems in. And there's a slightly different format to the questions, which I'm not going to go into now because you don't need to know that. In terms of unseen, there's a 3rd exam paper, which is unseen, and you do unseen poetry and prose, and that's lots of practice at reading lots of different texts, so you get a lot of practice, a lot of discussion. Literature is very discussion based. Essays tend to be done in private study or at home. Occasionally we do them in class, but fairly rarely. Mostly it is about discussing the texts and having sometimes ding-dong arguments about what we think, because we never agree with each other, and that's part of the beauty of it. So if you like a good argument and you have opinions, then come along and do English literature with us. We think you'll love it. It should be a facilitating subject. It goes with everything.